This is CNN World Report, where every weekend we present stories from TV stations and networks worldwide. And in this edition, a focus on a disease that affects every third person in developed countries. A brave fight will take a closer look at how women on two continents are dealing with the #1 cancer that strikes them. Plus, as the Northern Hemisphere enters the summer season, a fresh warning about a health danger from the sun. Hello and welcome, I'm Guillermo Arduino. The focus of our show today is cancer, as the world's biggest annual cancer forum is underway in the United States. We're going to examine the problems and the progress being made in fighting this often deadly disease. First, let's take a look at some stats. Experts say that more than 7 million people worldwide die from cancer every year. Close to 11 million new cases are diagnosed annually. And last year alone, cancer killed more people than AIDS, malaria and tuberculosis combined. One form of the disease, breast cancer, is the most common cause of cancer-related deaths among women. We have reports now from two contributors on how patients around the world are fighting for their lives.
Bev Immerman's breast cancer was detected on a routine mammogram. She chose to have a lumpectomy. Her other breast is cancer-free.
The other breast was okay, and they didn't recommend anything be done with that side.
Still, 1 in 10 breast cancer patients will eventually get cancer in the other breast. And a new study suggests there may be a better way to find those second tumors earlier. Doctors took almost 1,000 women with a recent diagnosis of breast cancer in one breast, but not the other. Within 2 months, the women were given an MRI. The MRIs picked up 30 tumors that the mammograms had missed. That's about 3%. Dr. Patrina Causer was the only Canadian investigator in the study. She shows us an example of a breast cancer that was missed on a mammogram, but detected with MRI.
Couldn't see anything on the mammogram, it was normal, and actually went on to do a breast ultrasound to see if we could see it for purpose of biopsy, and could not identify it on the ultrasound.
But there are drawbacks to MRIs. For one thing, they're at least 10 times more expensive than a mammogram, and they are so sensitive, they reveal all sorts of suspicious growths that aren't cancer. Meanwhile, women need to have repeat scans and biopsies to know for sure. That, say experts, is why MRIs will never be routinely recommended as a screening tool to find breast cancer in healthy women.
I mean, we'll have to shut down the whole healthcare system and do nothing but biopsy, MRI found things that'll turn out to be nothing if we do that.
Still, evidence is mounting that at least in some women, MRIs should be used in conjunction with mammography. New guidelines in the U.S. recommend that all women at high risk for breast cancer, such as those who carry genetic mutations, be given regular MRI screening. And experts say that's the goal here in Canada, too, but access to the MRI machines and the technicians and radiologists needed to do them is spotty.
There aren't enough scanners, there isn't enough personnel, and there's no one willing to fund the extra costs, which are huge.
And that's why, for now, women like Bev Immerman will be closely monitored for any signs of a recurrence of breast cancer with regular mammograms rather than MRIs. Maureen Taylor, CBC News, Toronto.
46-year-old Sun Yan is now a volunteer in the local cancer recovery club. But she still remembers the day she went into surgery. 5 years ago, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. But doctors said it was too late to go through alternative treatments.
If I didn't accept the operation, my life would have been threatened. Life is more important.
Sun chose to save her life, but it came at a price. Eventually, she gave up her job and her 12-year marriage. In Shanghai, more than 2,500 patients like Sun join the battle every year. The city has the highest breast cancer rate in China, which has tripled in the past 30 years.
In Shanghai, for every 100,000 people, there are 56 cases of breast cancer, while the number is only 20 in rural areas. In big cities, an unhealthy environment, improper living habits and heavy work pressures are the main causes.
To raise awareness about breast cancer among women, Ye Danyang, a TV director in Beijing, recorded a documentary on her own experience after her breast cancer operation in 2005. So far, she has contacted many patients nationwide. and now is preparing to launch a recovery association for breast cancer patients.
My husband gave me a lot of support during that time, and I don't care how other people look at me. I believe a woman can still lead a happy life even if she loses her breasts, because her heart remains complete.
The only thing you can do is to change your own opinion. It's not easy for a patient to explore her new space, but she has to. She must overcome her pain on her own.
With efforts from volunteers like Ye, helping hands from cancer recovery clubs are on the way. On the official side, a national breast cancer survey is now going on. It aims to cover 1 million city women through 2010. Lin Chen, SBN China for CNN World Report.
Skin cancer can also kill if left untreated. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in every 3 cancers diagnosed is a skin cancer. Between 2 and 3 million cases of skin cancer occur every year, and an increase in the Earth's ozone levels is making the problems even worse. Now, no one knows that better than Australia, which has the highest rate of skin cancer in the world. More on that from 7 Network in a moment. But first, a report on an effort in Europe to make sure people get tested before it's too late.
In the EU last year, there were almost 60,000 new cases of melanoma recorded. It's the second fastest growing form of cancer in the world. Now, this Greek MEP, who's also a doctor and a professor of biochemistry, wants melanoma added to the European Code Against Cancer.
There is a recommendation of screening of 3 cancers: cancer of the colon, cancer of the uterus, cancer of the breast. We can add cancer of the skin because, as it was said, it's much more easier detectable.
Professor Trakatellis brought together some of Europe's leading experts at the European Parliament to discuss the rapid growth of the disease and the need to tackle it.
The people of the north have been since the 60s or so enjoying all their sun holidays in the beaches in southern Europe, now more and more the subtropics, the tropics. And, well, our skin of the northern European people is simply not built for that kind of sun exposure.
In Europe, a group of volunteer specialists organise Melanoma Day, when they give their time free of charge to screen for skin cancer. They mainly look for unusual moles that are irregular, have more than one colour, have changed or become itchy. Nobody knows for sure why more women than men contract melanoma, but one reason why more men than women die from it is that we don't examine our bodies and we don't report what we find to a doctor early enough. So let's put that right. Professor Trakatellis' daughter Myrto is a doctor specialising in dermatology, and she agreed to give me the once-over, and she didn't like one of the moles she found.
Let me start with this one, which is actually a bit asymmetrical. It's a bit longer than it should be, and it has 2 colors. And you tell me it has changed?
It's bigger than it was, yes.
Yes, so for something like that, I would recommend to take it out.
Always better to know these things. If melanoma is diagnosed early enough, survival and recovery is almost 100%. Yet in the EU last year, the disease killed more than 13,000. So the first thing to do is alert people to the dangers and persuade them to overcome any embarrassment or reticence about seeking medical advice. And if I can, you can. Jim Gibbons, EU TV, for the CNN World Report in Brussels.